So when I was younger, I was raised from a very young age to kind of believe that I was going to college. And maybe that's because my parents didn't go to college, their parents didn't go to college. I was pretty much the first to go to college in my family. So they really instilled in me at a very young age, you will go to college. And I grew up believing that that was the only way to ever be successful. And that's okay. I mean, there are definitely a lot of professions that you absolutely need to go to school for. And when my son was born, my dad came to me and he said, okay, time to start that college fund because it'll be 20 times more expensive than it was when you went to college. So I started a college fund for him, and I started thinking, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to afford this? Oh my goodness. And he's got to go to college. I kind of had my parents' voice in my head. He's got to go to college. He's got to go to college. And I have to admit that over the past year, I am having this mind-blowing revelation that maybe people don't really have to go to college to be successful. And I mean, I see that because there's a ton of people who are very successful who didn't go to college. And you know what? My dad is one of them. He runs a successful business for 20 something years and he didn't go to college to do that. But things were different then, right? But we're seeing this trend now where, entrepreneurs, you don't necessarily need to go to school for that. And I think it's difficult for me because I was taught to believe that, it was really drilled in me, and it's this revelation. And so the other day we were talking to Ken Crowell. He's a co-founder at Employee Test, a company that creates hiring and employee hiring tests. And this kind of came up, like, what are the skills that you need to have now during a very virtual employment world that we're living in? And it's funny because it raised the question, okay, it's not that stuff that you get in the degree, but what is it? It's the traditional communication skills. Can you write an email, as Ken says? And I hit him with a heavy question. Do we actually have to go to college anymore to be hired? And then throw on top of that, Google actually launched, what is it called? Career certificates for high demand fields. And last week, this was all over the news, and they're treating it as a 4-year degree, and it's these 6-month courses for high demand jobs. So again, there's another red light. Do we really have to go to college? I don't know. I don't know how to guide my child at this point. Luckily he's only 6, but what is the right thing to do? And I start thinking about myself. Well, do I really use a lot of what I went to school for? I was a broadcast journalism major. All right, maybe some video editing here and there, although they trained us on some heavy duty editing equipment, and I'm using all these online tools that are way easier to use. But do we really need it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we need to go to school. I learned some journalistic techniques, maybe that. But I was always good at asking questions. Writing, I was always good at writing. So maybe I fine-tuned my skills. Absolutely. I learned some different ways to do things, but did I have to go and get a 4-year degree to do that and spend all the money that I did? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I'm really in this very, very interesting place where I'm starting to question a lot of things that I believed about formal education and higher education. So now that I've gone off on that tangent, listen into this clip from Ken and take a listen to what he has to say about, first, some of the skills that are needed now during this pandemic when hiring employees. And then you'll hear me hit him with that question. Do we really need to go to school?
Hiring. And now, based on pandemic and really over the past couple of years, we're really looking at what are their skills? What can they actually do? Can they compose a letter? Do they have technology skills? We don't care so much about what their degree is, but if they can summarize and they have great analytical skills and great basic skills, then that's the type of person that we want, regardless of what sort of degree they have. So that's important.
So I have a heavy question.
Uh-oh.
Is
Okay.
college even necessary anymore for things that are not trades?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as a parent of a high school senior, we've had those conversations, a lot of them, in the past couple of years, because one of my children was saying, well, maybe I don't need to go. And I said, yeah, maybe you don't need to go. It's not for everyone. College is not for everyone. Now, we do expect, at least in my house, to have some sort of advanced degree, whether it's from a technical college or the bachelor's or something like that. But it's certainly not required to be successful. Now, what we're hoping is these trends, just like the federal government was talking about earlier this year, these trends for hiring for skills, not for education, continues to grow and grow. But it's certainly not a requirement to do great in a career.